using water bottles. We all can buy 5-liter water bottles that you can use. You can use tempos, you can increase the intensity by doing 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, or even 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off. By using intervals with time, you stretch yourself like that. Unfortunately, right now it's very difficult for a lot of people to access gyms. So there is definitely ways that you can strengthen your body without equipment. And yeah, if you need help with doing that, we're always available to help with online sessions and things like that to help you with your program. For sprinter, so the plyometrics that I've showed is really good exercises. So squat, jump, bounce, things like that. So plyometric exercises really stimulates your explosive strength if you do not have equipment. Otherwise, for a sprinter, probably things like snatch, clean, Olympic lifting movements really also help with your explosion, and also just general strength will help you to be able to access your muscle fibers that help with the explosiveness. Make sure that you're wearing the proper shoes, that you're doing it on a proper surface. Focus on your technique while jumping. It's quite important. Yeah, I think that's probably what you can do without a gym. Overall load, your total load of the week should increase with 10%. So this means conditioning as well as strength training, or total load. So for example, we would usually in a week have heavy days and lighter days. So it will really depend on your coach and on your goals and what kind of program you're on really, to be able to increase that total weekly load with about 10%. Okay, so it's not just one day or every day 10%. It's your total week's load needs to increase with 10%. And then in your week, you should have heavy days, medium days, and sometimes even light days, where your heavy day is probably where you're lifting your heaviest, and your light day is probably maybe when you're doing some mobility or things like that. So it all depends on your periodization that you're in, so which phase of training you're in, what your goals are. But yeah, it's usually distributed over the week where you have heavy days and light days. And remember that total load that I'm talking about should be increased with 10%. Not every exercise, not every program. It's your total load of the whole week should increase with 10%. To see if it's safe for yourself is to make sure that obviously firstly you wear it when you're in a crowded place like a gym, and then see what your own symptoms are. Okay, if you can't breathe, if you're really struggling to breathe, maybe it's a little bit too intense. If you're able to breathe and do all your exercises, then it's probably fine. Yeah, the thing unfortunately is if all the other masks except for the N95, the N95 is probably the safest mask to wear. However, it's really, really super difficult to train with it. So there will be a little bit of a risk, but if you're safe and you stay away from people, you should be as safe as you can. You stay away from people, make sure to keep your distance, and then personally you take care of your own body and make sure that you can actually breathe and exercise and you're not feeling restricted, then it should be fine. But again, make sure that you do all the hand hygiene, hand sanitizer, clean all the equipment you use. Again, what I would probably say is start with that 50%. So if your pace you had a high pace of 11 kilometers per hour that you were running, probably start with half of that. Start maybe with half the distance maybe start with 5 kilometers, you know, take that pace that you're running and slightly try and increase that pace that you're running now with 10% per week. Try and improve it with 10% per week. 10% is also just a guideline, right? It can be 5%, it can be 15% if you're feeling you're a little bit fitter than that. And then a way for marathon runners to kind of monitor yourself, if I can say it like that, is using a RPE score, which is a rating of perceived exertion. So say, for example, you're running your 5 kilometer. Afterwards, you make a note in a book somewhere, or make a note on your phone saying, okay, this was, for me, 5 out of 10. Then you know, okay, great, 5 out of 10, 10 being running an actual marathon, 1 being sleeping, okay? So you would want that intensity to be at about 5 out of 10 initially when you start. You can increase it gradually, but it's really important that you start with that 5 out of 10. So RPE score, as we call it, out of 10, sorry, is probably the one we use most often with marathon runners.